Hey guys, welcome back to another video, and we are almost done with the first week of May, which feels really weird. It feels like April lasted so long. I don't know whether it's because I was filming every day, that I was taking notice of each day, which is why it felt longer, and now I'm not doing that and time just seems to be flying. I really don't know. And I don't know if I'm okay with it or weirded out by it, but anyway. Once again, we're getting off track. What are we talking about today? The NaNoWriMo Hangover. Of April comes the end of Camp NaNoWriMo, and whether you completely smashed your target or didn't quite make it or ended up doing something completely different, there is going to be some kind of mental aftermath from focusing so hard on one thing for an entire month. We've talked about this after the main NaNoWriMo in November, how afterwards you kind of feel this accomplishment that, yeah, you did something and you achieved something and you got your goals, but then there's also that moment of NaNoWriMo's over, can I breathe now? And once you start thinking, yes I can, this overwhelming urge to just curl up in a ball takes over. And it is no different for Camp NaNoWriMos, apparently. I didn't really know this because this was my first ever time taking part in a Camp NaNoWriMo, and because it was a smaller target, I assumed, oh, because it's a smaller target, I'm not really working as hard as I was before, especially being in lockdown when I don't have multiple jobs to keep track of, so I won't feel as bad. I was wrong. I don't know, I'm one of those people where as soon as a NaNoWriMo ends or a big goal ends, I feel sort of on edge. I feel like, okay, well, the time limit is over with, so there's nothing really restricting me anymore. I can just carry on, and I do. And then about a week later, that's when my brain starts going, for the love of God, please stop, why are you still doing this? I've heard so many different NaNoWriMo hangover stories. Like, some people, as soon as it hits midnight on the last day, laptop is slammed shut and they don't look at their projects for a week or two, or maybe even a few months before they finally get the urge to go back to it and try and fine-tune it, fix it, finish it, you name it, because it's given them that break and that step back to just look at it with a new pair of eyes. Then I've heard people that are like, oh, I never get Camp NaNoWriMo hangover. NaNoWriMo hangover is a myth. It's just like any other writing day, you just carry on. And I can see where you're coming from, but at the same time, what kind of mental strength do you have, and can I have some, please? I mean, I'm a delayed reaction kind of person when it comes to stress and writing hangovers. I think I'm fine. And I don't know why I haven't learnt my own lesson yet. I think that I am perfectly fine, and then it gets to a point where I start slowing down in my writing, or I start trailing off onto other projects, or I revisit an old project, and then the next thing you know, I'm just like, I need to stop. Although, side note, I am sort of similar when it comes to actually going out drinking as well. I think I'm perfectly fine until I get to a point in the night where I'm like, oh no, and then the next day I'm paying for it. I haven't had a night out since a little after the wedding. Wow. But then I've talked about this before, that whenever I do have a real hangover, which is very rare because I don't drink that often, and I still haven't really had a drink since the lockdown started, which isn't a bad thing. I mean, it's healthier, but you know, you do you. I'm not judging. This is just what my life has turned out to be. I'm going on a tangent again. Whenever I do have a proper hangover, I have two kinds, and I never know which one it's going to be. There's the one where I'm curled up in a ball and you cannot look at me, don't even touch me, don't even come in the same room as me because you will get your head bitten off. I am the bedsheets troll, do not disturb me. And then I have the other hangover where it's like, I feel god awful, I need everything possible to distract me. I'm gonna clean the house because God knows that'll keep me busy and keep my mind off the pain. And apparently I'm the same with writing hangovers as well. So about a week passes, whatever time limit I've given myself, whatever word goal I have, and I've powered through and been dealing with whatever else is going on with my life at the time, and then I get to that week where it's like, okay, well, this thing's finished. I'm feeling okay. I can carry on. And I do. And then about a week later, that's when I start thinking, okay, I'm not getting bored of the project, but I'm getting tired. I'm getting burnt out. I need a break. I need to stop. And I will. I'll take a step back. I'll work on something else, or I'll catch up on my gaming or something like that. And it'll be, you know, I'd say about a week again, because I don't want to be away from it too long, so I'll take about a week off, and then I'll feel guilty for taking a week off, and then I'll throw myself into it, and then the process begins again because my mindset is super healthy. Or I get the other kind of hangover where I start feeling tired and I start feeling burnt out, but then I'll mess around with my plan again, which is not the best thing to do, but is the way my mind works. I'll start messing around with my plan, realise something that I could add in, tweak a few things here and there, and I just get this second wind, and then I just power through, but then that can result in a bigger opposite kind of hangover later on. On one hand, I'm still getting a break, even though I will feel guilty about it later, but at least I've had a break. And on the other hand, I will get much more work done and maybe get a bit of an inspiration boost. Swings and roundabouts, I don't know what's going on in here, and I never know which version of a hangover it's going to be. Right now, I'm feeling the burnt out kind for my sequel, the second wind inspiration for editing the original. I wasn't expecting that, but I am rolling with it. I am taking this break away from the sequel because I know that there are some bits of the plan that I'm not happy with, and I know I'm not going to be happy later on if I just power through and then just have to change everything. So I'm taking that break. With the editing, I am running full speed ahead because I want this published sometime this year. I'm not giving myself a date because I don't want to disappoint myself later on, but by the end of this year I want it to be published, and I want you guys to see it, and I don't want you guys to judge me, but it comes with the job, so if it happens, please be nice. I guess at the end of the day, is there a way you can handle your NaNoWriMo hangover, no matter whether it's main, camp, practice, you name it? Is there a way that you can handle it? Yeah, there are ways that you can handle it. There are ways you can take a break, you can work on something else, you can try a different medium, you can mess around with the narrative if you want to try something new, you can just do something way out there, just, you know, take up a new hobby instead of writing just for a little bit, just to see if you get the same sort of buzz, so then when you go back you've got more ideas. But is there a set way I personally can tell you these are the set things you need to do? I'm sorry, but no. Everyone is different, everyone's mindsets, everyone handles an NaNoWriMo hangover differently. Like I said, some people get burnt out and just don't want to look at their project for as long as possible. Other people get a second wind and just want to power through. Some people try a different project altogether. Some people take up a different hobby. Some people, you know, avoid screens altogether and just curl up under a table for, you know, a long period of time. No matter what your coping mechanism is, as long as it's not self-destructive, it doesn't matter what it is. If it works for you, it works for you. At the end of the day, what I'm saying is that your brain is unique. There can be days where you will think, okay, I'm feeling burnt out, but I don't care. And whether you feel tired or not later on, that doesn't matter to you in that moment. What you know is that you have more energy to give and you want to put it into something creative, and that's amazing. I really don't recommend burning yourself out to a point where you hate writing altogether, because I've been there and it's a nightmare to get back in after a long break. Yeah. This was a jumbled video. This probably wasn't even a helpful video. This was probably something that you're even regretting clicking on, and for that I am sorry. But at the end of the day, no one can tell you how to handle a Camp NaNoWriMo hangover. or a writing hangover in general. No one can tell you how to handle it because that's you. Everyone's different. What works for me with this option A or option B, you know, ignore for a while or power through until I get to the point of frustrated crying. I don't know which one it's going to be. One is definitely more healthy than the other. But I've gotten used to that, and I am learning to accept a break more than a burnout. I'm learning not to feel guilty about taking a break, because at the end of the day, you've worked so hard on a project solidly for an entire month to reach word counts that a lot of people would think are crazy. You are fully entitled to take a break at the end of it, okay? If I'm ever going to tell you guys what to do, and again, I've said this before, I try not to, you know, give a step-by-step, this is what you should do to succeed, because I haven't published anything. I don't feel like I've earned the right to ever tell you guys what to do. But the one exception to the rule, and I'm being a huge hypocrite because I still haven't fully accepted this myself, but it is the one thing that I will say to you guys that you do need to do. And that is to accept the fact that when you need a break, and there is nothing to feel guilty about because you've earned it, okay? Writing hangovers are not fun at all, but they're also not permanent. Me personally, I'm doing okay. My mind is split in two, so for one project I'm putting on a break and ignoring for a little while just to get my head in the right space, and that is perfectly fine. It is also split into the fact that with the original, I have got my second wind with editing now that I actually realise what I'm doing and that it's not as scary as I originally thought, and I'm holding on to that. Both are completely okay, normal and justified things to feel and go through, just like it is perfectly justified and normal and reasonable to take a break. I'm going to end this video here before I ramble on even more than I already have. I'm sorry if this was not useful to you in any way, but I do hope that you've taken that one little shred of advice to heart, that it is okay to take a break and hangovers are not fun, whether you've had the drink or not. I hope you guys are doing well, I hope you're looking after yourselves, I hope you're staying safe and doing your best to stay sane, and I will see you all in the next video. Goodbye, my scribblers.